What is up, everybody? We're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. So 90 Day Fiance, Season 9, Episode 16. This is part 2 of the podcast, and I have called Two Weddings and a Yacht. So let's jump in and talk about the yacht. So 3 days to wed. Patrick and Thais take another trip. She's been all over the country, by the way, to Miami to a yacht party that his friends threw for them as a wedding gift, which, ironically, they might not be getting married. And Thais opens up to his friend Tammy about that and says that she has major doubts about marrying Patrick because of his controlling nature and the fact that her father does not want her to marry him. And Tammy is very shocked because at this point, everyone in Patrick's friend, family, and camp believes that this wedding is happening in 3 days in Orlando. So she tells Thais, if you're not going to marry him, you need to end this now and do not prolong this anymore because you're going to hurt him as well as everyone else involved. And this just puts Thais in an even more confused state. So they have dinner that night and discuss what's going on, and she still hasn't made a decision. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out who plans a wedding 2.5 days out from the wedding. They still don't know if they're going to get married. So Patrick feels his only option is a telephone call to her dad, Carlos, and ask him one more time if he can have his blessing to marry Thais. And this does not go well. Her dad has absolutely no remorse, no sympathy, no compassion. He immediately says no. He says he does not approve of their wedding or their marriage or their plans or anything about their relationship. And now Patrick is realizing that she might be on a plane back to Brazil in less than 3 days.
Think that the way they're going about their whole relationship is a hot mess. Like, first of all, if you're getting married, why are you doing anything other than planning it so it doesn't go crazy? I mean, even if they wanted to go to just the courthouse, or even if they wanted a simple wedding at the house with like 4 guests, you still have to plan stuff. You have to be like, okay, am I going to wear a dress? Are you going to wear a suit? Are we going to have a party afterwards? What time are we having it? Do we have the person to marry us? Like, there's things that are involved even with the simplest wedding. Do you have your marriage license? Like being on a yacht in Miami days before, it's like, yeah, that's relaxing, but that's the stuff that you do on your honeymoon. That's the stuff that you do once it's all said and done. And she tried to warn him that her dad wasn't on board. So now you're just poking the bear. She told her dad because he asked her to. And she warned him. She said, my dad is not going to be on board. So if you want this to be successful, you have to do it on my terms. And he didn't listen to her. And now he got himself in a predicament. So now I feel like going to her dad is just poking the bear. That's what I feel like. I feel like you already know that he's upset. You already know that he doesn't want this to happen. So now you're just making it worse. I feel like if you're going to get married, get married. If you're going to really, truly respect him, then send her back on a plane to her home and call it quits because you ain't never going to get married if the dad doesn't want you there. So at this point, I think that I'm on board with her. Like, we have no business traveling the world. We don't even know what our future plans are. Yeah. So I think that he needs to stop sweeping it under the rug, figure it out, and then come to the terms that, are we going to get married or are we going to do what dad wants?
So I want to talk about Shida and Nefertari because Bilal's family is big on pranks. So this was one last prank before they initiate her into the family, right? So Nefertari is the clothing designer of the family, and she designed Shida's dress. And she had strict instructions that the dress needed to be form-fitting, and that means tight. That's just a really cool word for tight. So it needs to be really tight on her and show off her figure. And she shows her a dress that is, in Shida's words, a old lady dress. It's a baggy old lady dress from like the 1950s, and Shida is disgusted. And she does hold back this time because if you remember from the first prank, she let Bilal have it. She talked about the house. She talked about how it was dilapidated, and she did hold off and she tried to be a little more understanding of the situation. But I feel like pranking a bride right before her wedding, you are asking to be obliterated, because a bride is known for being a bridezilla and she needs to have things done her way, and anything that can go wrong can set that bride off. So I do want to say that Shida handled it really well, because she literally only had 2 days to find another dress if that was actually her dress. And she said afterwards, she said, I kind of wanted to throw her over the banister of the stairs when she showed me that dress, but she practiced self-control. So I'm glad that she was able to do that.
I'm trying to figure out why Bilal's family tries to be such pranksters, but they can't take it back. Like, if we remember a few episodes back, Shida tried to get on the bandwagon and joke around with him, and he got so upset with her, like so huffy puffy. And it's like, how is it that you play all these like mean tricks on her, but the second she tries to do it back to you, you can't take any type of like joke? I don't hate the joke that the sister pulled, but like it's just kind of like, really, like, your brother already did this. Like, what's the point? But at least, and I will give her props for this, at least like she kept it lighthearted. At least she didn't, wait until like the day before her wedding to be like,
Right.
surprise. Like, she told her within the next few minutes. So that's a genuine joke. Like, that's a joke because she knew how much it meant to her. She knew she had her back and she had the dress that she wanted. So that was like a joke that no one was going to get hurt. Like the one that Bilal played on her when she first got here. Yeah, no one was going to get hurt, but you made her feel some type of way. So there's different types of jokes. Hers was funny. So the dress.
And we have to remember as well, they're transforming the house into a wedding venue. So Shida has a lot on her plate already. So this joke was not funny. It's just not funny. She's trying to transform a house into a wedding venue, which anyone knows is an impossible task. You can't really do that in a couple of days, and that's all she had. So I'm really hoping that this is the last prank that they put her through, and they just initiate her into the family at this point. I feel like this is a hazing at this point. So last but not least, we saw Aliella and Binium get married. And we have been watching them for years. We watched them on The Other Way, and we watched them on this season. They finally have gotten married, and they have Avi. And a lot of people, I think, were confused because a lot of people thought that they were married already. They did not get married in Ethiopia. So this is their first wedding. So congratulations to them. And I am really happy to see that they've made it this far, because it's been years and there's been times where no one really thought, including Ari herself, that they were going to make it down the aisle. We saw Binium ask Ariella's dad for permission to marry her, which was a little late because they already have a child together and her dad had already paid for the wedding and it was the day of the wedding. So it would be weird for him to say no, but he still asked. And we actually saw that Mimi and Wish and Binium's family were able to watch it through Zoom. And Ariella did not want them originally to watch the wedding due to a wine throwing incident that involved her face. So I'm saying that Ariella has shown growth. She's forgiving and she's understanding and she's compromising. And when we watched her on The Other Way, that was not the case. So I think that they have both grown a lot. Whether or not their marriage is going to make it, that is to be determined. But I do think that they have both grown a lot in the years that we've watched them.
I just want to take the time to say congratulations to them both. Don't listen to the outsiders. Don't listen to your family. If you guys are truly in love, make it work. Work on your relationship. Work on your personal strengths with, bettering yourself. Be the best parents you could be to Avi. I wish them all the best of luck.
Same. Congratulations, you guys. Beautiful wedding. It was a Jewish wedding as well, which was a compromise because if you remember, Binium had Avi baptized in his religion back in Ethiopia. So this was a compromise that he made for Ariella. So I love seeing the compromises that they're taking together as a couple, because we didn't see that early on in that relationship. So that gives me a glimmer of hope for them in the future. All right, guys, that's it for part 2. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. So we are 16 episodes in. We don't know when the last episode is. We don't even have a date for the tell-all. I'm excited to see it, but we do know that Bilal and Shida and maybe Thais and Patrick still need to get married. So we will be watching for that. I'm George Mossey. This is Heather C. Thanks for joining us. Live tweet with us every Sunday night for the show, and we'll talk to you all really soon.